11 a.m. on weekends. 7 Mile Beach, Walkers Road, Waterfront, Town Center Plaza, and now Red Bay.
For the Record is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking and pension needs, call or visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealerships serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Base and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 2nd day of November 2018. We're creeping very close to the holiday season, and of course there are a few holidays coming up before then as well. We have Remembrance Day celebrations which will take place soon as well. So the hustle and bustle, which usually now in the Cayman Islands doesn't start during the holidays. There's a hustle and a bustle every day of the week here in the Cayman Islands now. Everyone is busy going about doing their daily routines, but sometimes we say, what's the rush? Where are we rushing to go? At the end of the day, we're going to all still be in the same place. But time is flying. That busy part of the season is coming. This time of the season when we want to think of others, our actions towards others should be in such a way that we're doing more to help than to hinder as well. I want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. This morning, it is that radio voice of DJ Lynn. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. You can also email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261. We encourage you on the WhatsApp number to leave us a voice note or send us a text message, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. I want to extend my condolences and the condolences from the Radio Cayman family to all of those who have lost loved ones in recent days, recent hours as well. Our sincere condolences go out to you, and we know and we trust that the good Lord is there standing by you through your pain and your suffering as well. Today being Friday, it is the day we have reserved for the official opposition to be on For the Record, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than the leader of the opposition, the Honorable D. Ezzard Miller. Mr. Miller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, O.C., and thanks for having us, and warning to the listening public, and we lots to talk about today. The people initiated referendum, all the misinformation that the government is spending, the elected government is spending government money to propagate here on Radio Cayman, and Radio Cayman is not enforcing anything about truth in advertising, and it's being reduced to a propaganda machine.
But not only on Radio Cayman, I heard on other radio stations, those ads are running as well.
Mm-hmm. So we look forward. It should be an interesting day, and of course we have a ton of legislation to talk about.
Yes.
Almost had to put the papers in the back of my truck today. But we don't have the green bills yet.
Okay. I was thinking, let's just go right straight to a referendum. Mm-hmm. The whole is that there are several items, I believe, that could go on a referendum. Now, whether or not they're of national importance, that they would be included in a people's-initiated referendum is another story. But if at the same time we're going to have a referendum, and for those who are saying that it's going to cost an exorbitant amount of money,
which you and I both know ain't true,
right? And if it is going to cost an exorbitant amount of money, why don't we look at all of those issues that we need to deal with?
Certainly, the referendum law does not limit a referendum to one issue, mm-hmm. and I can think of three issues that comes immediately to mind.
If you're probably thinking about the same one.
Gambling,
yes.
And same-sex marriages.
Yes.
I mean, but I don't understand I understand it because it's politics 101. Most elected governments don't like referendum because it puts the control back in the hands of the people. But we need to use that provision in the Constitution, I believe, a lot more than we do. And I'm not overly concerned about the cost. I mean, at what price democracy? Mm-hmm. You know, and certainly I would think that I agree with you that those three issues could easily be posed on that one referendum.
Precisely.
And both of them would be yes or no votes.
Yep. And have it settled. Right. I wouldn't say once and for all, but at least for now.
At least for the term of this government.
Yes.
For the remaining time they can be in office, because I don't plan for them to be in office much longer, right? But that's up to the people too. But I would think that it would be an opportunity, because that you've probably seen in the media. I believe that the draconian fines and amendments we're making to the gambling law mm-hmm. are just a waste of energy, because they're not going to be. We don't have the resources to enforce it. You know, I went to the Esso station, what they call now, and you buy $25 gas. They give you a card, put your name on it, you drop it in. That's illegal. Because that's not a non-profit organization for which the amendments were made in 2012, remember? Mm-hmm. Which were made as a result of a motion that I tabled when the government brought the amendment to the gambling law for cruise ships registered in the Cayman Islands to gamble, not in Cayman, but in international waters. And all we're going to do there is again, force the police, in my view, to divert a lot of resources that should normally be put on more importantly a more severe crime into trying to enforce these numbers, and they're turning a blind eye on the very things. I mean, you know, that I would expect, and you know the government is listening, but how can we come out attacking the numbers stuff, but we're allowing all of these multi-billion corporations to sucker Caymanians into gambling to get a tank of gas? Or a couple of $1,000.
Yeah. And for those politicians who fear the backlash or a backlash from the religious community, again, if you put the issue of gambling on the ballot paper, mm-hmm. In the form of a referendum, then at least you have the comfort of saying whatever the decision is, if the decision is to allow gambling in the Cayman Islands, be it in limited circumstances or what, then you as a politician can say, "These people have spoken." The religious community had equal opportunity to get out there and to vote against it as those who would vote for it.
And the majority rule. That's the kind of government we have.
Yeah. What is happening is that those people who are involved in the illegal gambling, we are pushing them further and further into the darkness, into the dark. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they are more sophisticated than our authorities and the devices that our authorities have. I crossed Shedden Road yesterday, and the area there, which is renowned for having the crowds, no one was there. But
you think they were selling numbers?
I can almost bet you that the same amount of numbers that were being sold before they were cleared up are still being cleared because they have gone to it electronically. They are more sophisticated than the crime fighters.
Yeah, and they have the resources. And government, I think it should be legalized, as I've said, and taxed. My recommendation is 30% from the licensed for your license. 30% of your income is your license fee, annual license fee, and 20% from those who win. And use that money specifically for education and to help our poor people with health care.
Yeah.
Right? But again, referendum is win-win, nobody lose. Right? If the government puts it out there, right, and the people say, we want the port, they build the port. If people say, we don't want gambling, then the people have authorized you to go out and get the necessary resources that are there to do it, right? It gives a way out for the people wearing the collar, and says, but you all voted for it. It's not democracy. The majority say they want it, right? Same-sex marriages. I don't support same-sex marriages. I support a form of legal. Must have what I'm looking for again.
Partnerships, civil partnerships,
civil unions. I think is the word, right? I support that. I don't support any tampering with our current marriage law. But again, the government should be taking the initiative in this to find out what the people want, because I don't believe this is not 1970s Cayman. I don't believe that you're going to find the huge resistance and the commitment to stop gambling from the religious community as you would have found in the 70s in Cayman.
And the interesting thing is that when you go into that voting booth, no one knows how you vote. So you may even get some of those religious ones, because we keep hearing that they play the numbers. When they step out of the church door, the first question they ask, what number dropped?
I have heard reports that before they get from the choir to the door, they ask the person going down the aisle.
Well, who knows these,
including the minister.
Who knows these days? They may just be checking their smartphone to see,
exactly.
on there as well.
I'm a form. My political mantra has always been participatory democracy, and there comes a point in time in a society when laws that once reflected the mood and the convictions of society no longer do. And I think we have a responsibility as politicians to determine when that happens, and referenda is one of the easiest ways to determine it, and to make the necessary changes so that the laws reflect what are the norms in society.
Yeah. And certainly if I were involved in the whole process, if you want approval for your port, if you want the nod of approval from the people in the form of a referendum for the port, you may get it if you include these other items as well, because then those persons who want to have gambling, those persons who want to see some form of equal treatment for people in the Cayman Islands when it comes to the ability to marry or to have a partner, they may then go along, or you have the opportunity to say, support the port and support all of these other issues as well.
What is the government going to do in this people's referendum? Are you going to do what the former government did on the referendum, one man, one vote? Come out and campaign against holding a referendum?
Or
that's what they're doing now.
Or say to people, stay home?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where we have an opportunity for the government to say, which you could have done with the motion that means it's a clean heart, take the initiative, go out and campaign around all of the good things about the port, right? And let the people decide, right? But the biggest problem with the port, right, is the lack of information. But the government is fully aware that the more information the people get, the more concerned the people are getting. Because when they first said, well, it's not going to cost the people anything, there's a large section of the population that believe that, right? When you start drilling down into it, right, and you know that over that 25-year period is somewhere between $800 and $900 million that is not going to be accessible by the people of this country because they're going to the cruise industry or whoever finances the deal. People begin to think, right? And then the fact that they are so deliberately spreading misinformation, I mean, like the 200 million versus the documented 154 million, which the government has published, is just not right.
Okay, we have to go to a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record with the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable D. Ezzard Miller, will continue shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
In the 1770s, the British demand for cotton was in full swing, and as cotton prices rose, the British West Indies became key to the British prosperity, with the Cayman Islands seeing a short boom in the cotton industry. The peak of the cotton trade was between 1802 to 1804, with approximately 25 small ships transporting cotton between Grand Cayman and Jamaican ports. Vessels returning from Jamaica brought more slaves in return, which reflected the growing population and the growth in the plantation economics of Grand Cayman. At its peak, Cayman was producing between 40 to 60 tons of cotton per year, and in 1802 there were 545 slaves divided among 88 owner families. The cotton trade was a relatively short-lived economic boom, as the U.S., due to mass slave labor, proved to be able to produce cotton on mass scales, pushing the West Indies out of the cotton industry.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Cayman National would like to remind our customers to activate their new chip cards as soon as possible. All cards were mailed out, and we urge customers to check their mailbox regularly for their new card. Once received, please visit any of our 23 ATMs to activate your card. Doing a simple balance inquiry, which is free of charge, will activate your card. If you do not have a PIN or have forgotten your PIN, please visit one of our 7 customer service centers to PIN your card. Thank you for banking with us at Cayman National Bank.
Oh, my acid reflux is killing me.
Why don't you get something from the grocery store?
I need something better than any generic quick fix.
You should go to West Bay Pharmacy and have a brief consultation with the pharmacist. I went in last week and within minutes I was back in the car and on the road. And you know what? No more acid reflux.
How long did it take you?
Minutes. Here, give them a call at 945-0777.
West Bay Pharmacy is just around the corner with everything you need in the hours you need it. Visit us today for fast, efficient, and professional service. We are here as a team to assist you while taking care of your health. Call us today or visit our website at CaymanPharmacy.com.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square. Enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Your Sale, Your Choice, the one where you can get cash back or can put the savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on. But now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during Your Sale, Your Choice at Vamped Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice. Because you know what you need, and Vamped Motors will help you drive it home. Vamped Motors
Cruise
on Walkers
tourism
Road.
is a vital part of Cayman's economy. It is the government's responsibility to create an environment where our people can have an opportunity to grow and prosper today, tomorrow, and into the future. It is a myth that Cayman does not need cruise tourism. It is a fact that cruise passengers spend $200 million per year buying services from small businesses, tour operators, attractions, restaurants, and retail shops. Those funds stay right here, supporting our economy and communities. Support the pairs. Support our tourism.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record with your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable D. Ezzard Miller. Mr. Miller has pointed out that we have several topics to talk about this morning. We started a conversation talking about referendum, and we then focused specifically on a gambling issue, and both of us share the view that if there's going to be a referendum vote, then there are other issues that are of importance to the people of the Cayman Islands, to the government of the Cayman Islands as well. Issues where you may only be able to rely on polling, and I'm not sure about the accuracy of polling here in the Cayman Islands, but you would only be able to rely on polling unless you actually go out to the people, have them cast their vote in terms of what their position is on a particular topic. So here's an opportunity for the government to not only put the cruise berthing facility on a referendum, but also the issue of gambling, legal gambling in the Cayman Islands, and the gender issue, the issue of same-sex marriages in the Cayman Islands and the recognition thereof as well. An opportunity for that. So we're talking about gambling. I had an opportunity yesterday to speak to someone, and this person had the figures down pat in terms of what is being spent, what the government can make. They even went as far as to compare it with what it costs government to house a prisoner for a period of time, what the penalty, the fine, if you found guilty, could possibly be, the maximum, and whether people would be willing to go to jail and spend time there rather than paying that fine if it were say, $10,000, whether or not you'd prefer to go to jail. Because at the end of the day, it's going to cost the government more money to house you than the $10,000 at the end of the day. But this person also felt, and there are many people who feel, that a lot of the proceeds from gambling, specifically the numbers game, the numbers gambling, leave this jurisdiction, that they leave this jurisdiction. Here, this would be an opportunity if gambling were legalized and numbers were legalized for the government to obtain revenue from it, like you pointed out, Mr. Miller, through licensing, through charging a percentage on the winnings. I know jurisdictions like New York City, off-track betting, when you bet on the horses or whatever, 5% of your winnings you get. You can only have the ability to collect that if you were to license places to sell, to sell those numbers.
Exactly.
And believe you me, you would see many, many places seeking to buy those licenses. And, people will tell you now, you have numbers that play 6 times per day. Six times per day.
The estimate ranges anywhere from 1+ to 2+ to 3 million per week, right? And I'm not proposing that government monopolize this numbers game, gambling thing, or set up a whole bureaucracy now to do this. What government needs to do is, and they can do it under the Ministry of Finance, have a system of licensing them.
Yeah, like a trade and business license.
On production of audited accounts. Listen, we know they're going to cheat, right? But let's see if we're getting something. We ain't getting nothing now, right? And it just, what this is going to cost the government, one, the resources to enforce it, the resources that it's going to consume through prison, because most of these people ain't going to have a $10,000 to pay fine, And at the level and the economy that they're in, they're much better off going to jail, except for the freedom, and getting the 3 meals a day in free housing. So it just doesn't make any sense in my view. The common sense, one of the things in OC that you and I were raised up with, is that the people who were in the political arena and in the higher echelons of government may not have had big college educations, right? But they had that old-fashioned Caymanian common sense based on the principles of honesty and integrity. And they always strive to do what is right, not what is popular or not what will get me elected next time around.
I think in the interest of clarity also, we should point out that we're not here advocating for anyone to break laws.
No. I mean, my position is, I'm telling you that I am going to write the authorities. I want to know how a fuel company can be legally operating a raffle.
Yeah.
Or selling numbers. They are selling numbers. I went to the gas station and then again, you see the ads up, right? I put $25 on my gas. They gave me a card to write my name, my telephone number, and my address for an opportunity to win $5,000 a week. That ain't no difference from going out on Shedden Road and buying a number 2 or 3. I don't gamble, I have never bought a number in Cayman. I've never bought a lottery in the United States. But if that's what you want to do, that's up to you. And there are people who are surviving on both sides of that kind. They are surviving by selling it and getting a percentage of, or they are surviving it on the 1 or 2 times that they win. Because most time, if you calculate your losses versus your wins, you're not going to be winning to what?
Yeah.
But again, what we going those people now go fall up in NAU, and NAU is now telling people they're out of money for this year.
Yeah,
okay.
I wanted to address the whole issue, because there are those opponents of legalized gambling that say that it will hurt the poor more than anyone else because they can least afford it. But again, do we have the empirical evidence to show that it will hurt the poor? Because there are many people who rely on those little small winnings from numbers to help to support themselves.
Food on the table for the weekends and during the week, yeah.
Yes.
And how many of these people you see that are so opposed to gambling, you see them operating in soup kitchens or in the overnight shelters for people, right? So, it's one thing to go out and preach hell and damnation because you're doing something wrong. There's another thing to provide an opportunity to help me from doing it wrong,
Okay, let's go to the 8 o'clock news, folks. When we return, the conversation with the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable D. Ezzard Miller, will continue.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
Come on, let's go. Mark your calendars. Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Saturday, November 3rd in Grand Cayman and November 24th in Cayman Brac. Visit CaymanActive.com to register today or stop by Radio Cayman on Elgin Avenue. This year's funds go to benefit the NCVO, the John Gray High School Music Department, and the So-and-So Club of Cayman Brac.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Access. Information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A 20-year-old man is sentenced to 2 years in prison after a violent robbery that left a man with physical and mental scars. The Grand Court judge handed down an initial sentence of 3 years to Azim Burton, who pled guilty to a single count of robbery. However, the judge reduced the sentence to 2 years and 1 month for an early guilty plea. Burton and 3 other men followed the man home and attacked him outside of his house. During the attack, they stole the man's phone, wallet, and a gold ring that was given to him by his father. Burton was the only person apprehended and charged in the incident. The judge ordered whatever time he spent in custody to be deducted. Looks like pirates aren't the only thing that could be invading the sister islands. Officials at the Department of Environment are warning residents there to take the threat of a green iguana invasion seriously and to pick up a phone to report any sightings quickly, according to the DOE Terrestrial Resources Unit Manager Fred Burton. As it stands now, the green iguana invasion is still in its infancy in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. But the scale of the green iguanas overcrowding on Grand Cayman could be duplicated in the sister islands. The DOE employs its own iguana cull teams to the sister islands to help with the problem, but officials emphasize that local resident participation may also be needed. The DOE has set up 2 phone lines to report green iguana sightings. The Cayman Brac Wildlife Hotline is 916-7744. The Iguana Hotline Little Cayman is 925-7625. And over 60 students are paired up with local professionals for this year's Mentoring Cayman program hosted by the Chamber of Commerce.
We've averaged around 50 students per year, and in really good years, just about 50. But to get 65 this year, I think it shows that there's a lot of interest from students in getting mentorship, and also, to be honest, also getting experience and understanding the workplace and so on.
Chamber President Paul Bile says over the next year, students from a range of local schools and their mentors will meet on a monthly basis during workplace visits and attend numerous social events.
A lot of young people are just looking for someone that they can look up to, and when they get that and they're happy with that, then that's very, very fulfilling for them in terms of their personal development. And also they enjoy it as well. Some people need an outlet, and we all have outlets, and we have our parents and we have our close friends, but a lot of students, they need another outlet as well, and some of them actually need an alternative outlet sometimes to be able to learn and express themselves.
Since its inception, the program has provided participants the opportunity to develop long-term relationships with mentors who've been matched by common interests and career choices. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. Shares across Asia have rallied on hopes of a breakthrough in the US-China trade row that's led to both sides imposing billions of dollars of tariffs. Hong Kong shares led the way with a 4% rise. However, there's been no word from Beijing, and correspondents note that Mr. Trump's comments come a week before midterm elections in the United States. South Africa's new finance minister says the national airline should be shut down as it's been making huge losses and is not worth bailing out anymore. Tito Mboweni said South African Airways had been hemorrhaging money for years. The Saudi-led coalition has carried out air attacks on a military base in the Yemeni capital Sana'a, which is controlled by the Houthi rebel movement. There's also been an outbreak of fighting around the rebel-held port city of Hodeidah. The renewed violence comes just days after the United States said it wanted to see a ceasefire in place within a month. The European Union has warned that Sri Lanka could lose duty-free access to the EU market if it reduces its commitment to human rights. The EU said it was concerned that the appointment as Prime Minister of the hardline Sinhalese politician Mahinda Rajapaksa could weaken progress towards reconciliation with minority Tamils. Police in Britain have said they've begun an investigation into alleged anti-Semitic hate crimes within the main opposition Labour Party. But London's police chief told the BBC the bar to bringing criminal charges was very high and that statements that merely caused offence were not enough. And private and compromising data from more than 80,000 hacked Facebook accounts has been put up for sale on the internet. The BBC's Russian service has contacted users who've been hacked, mostly in Russia and Ukraine. They confirmed that messages posted by the hackers were genuine, including an intimate conversation between lovers and complaints about a son-in-law. That's the latest BBC News.
Access. Information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Domestic violence. It knows no gender. It knows no age. Children, the elderly, women and men. It affects everyone, and it needs to stop now. Research has shown that children who are hit in anger grow to be adults who hit in anger. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
What are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Farmers markets, slow cookers, everything pumpkin flavored. Oh, and coffee.
Friendsgiving, pints of ice cream, chocolate, and leftover Halloween candy.
Puppies!
Instant oatmeal.
I was kind of looking for friends, family, time spent with others.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that too.
Find everything you need to spend time with loved ones in the dinner table this Thanksgiving at your local Foster's IGA.
In financial news, shares charged ahead today in Europe and Asia after President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping spoke by phone, and both Trump and the Chinese state media reported progress in resolving trade tensions between their two countries. Keeping score, the CAC 40 in France jumped 1.3% to 5,153, and Germany's DAX advanced 1.4% to 11,623. Britain's FTSE 100 rose 0.6% to 7,158. Futures augured a strong start on Wall Street, and the Dow future contract was up 0.9% to 25,541, and that for the S&P 500 was up 0.7% at 2,757. Looking at Asia's day, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped 4.2% to 26,486, and the Shanghai Composite Index added 2.7% to 2,676. Japan's Nikkei 225 Index surged 2.6% to 22,243, while South Korea's Kospi climbed 3.5% to 2,096. In energy, oil prices continue to weaken after the Department of Energy said U.S. crude stockpiles increased for the sixth straight week. Benchmark crude slipped 15 cents to $63.54 per barrel in electronic trading on the New York Mercantile Exchange. It slumped 2.5% to $63.69 a barrel in New York. Brent crude, used to price international oils, gave up 2 cents to $72.87 per barrel. It shed 2.9% Thursday to $72.89. And in currencies, the dollar rose to 112.79 yen from 112.71, while the euro gained to 1.1437 from 1.1408.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
From the 29th of October to the 30th of November, Water Authority Cayman will be installing a new pipeline along a portion of Owen Roberts Drive. The installation of the new pipeline will affect the portion of Owen Roberts Drive between the intersection with Breezy Way and the Cayman Airways offices. Pipelaying works will take place from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday to Friday. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity of the work area, and all motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its valuable customers as it upgrades its water infrastructure to better serve you, and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
Good morning. Take a look at the public weather forecast prepared by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Temperatures currently at 82 degrees. Winds are coming in from the east at 9 knots. Relative humidity is at 87%. Barometric pressure is at 29.94 inches and rising. Overnight low last night was 78 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas are expected over the next 24 hours. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving northwest. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies, 30% chances of showers. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be southeast, 10 to 15 knots during the day. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Taking a look at tonight, mainly fair skies, 20% chances of late night showers. Temperatures to fall to the upper 70s. Winds will be southeast 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Taking a look at the tides today. Currently we're on the high tide. Low tide takes place at 12:02 p.m. And again, high tide at 6:13 p.m. Sunset this afternoon, 5:49 p.m. And sunrise bright and early tomorrow, 6:28 a.m. Outlook is for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning. Additional information, please visit www.weather.gov.ky.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
And good morning to our drivers out on the road. Slow traffic coming in from the east. Traffic seems to be backed up all the way to Poindexter Drive. Slow moving traffic again as head towards the Lansing Point and Prospect area. Taking a little further up the road. Traffic seems to be moderately flowing around the Kings Roundabout as you head in towards the Linford Pearson Highway, but expect delays a little bit further up there as well. Take a look at the Butterfield Roundabout. Smooth flowing traffic as you head in and out and around the area towards Industrial Park as well as Godfrey Nixon Way. Clear flowing traffic on Edward Street and Shedden Road. Nothing to indicate coming out from West Bay by the Ritz-Carlton area. Traffic seems to be clear. And no incidents to report at this time. Keep it locked right here to Radio Cayman for the latest traffic updates.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating.
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory-breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise the public that, due to the installation of new water infrastructure in front of Mango Tree Restaurant, motorists traveling northbound via Crew Road may experience temporary delays on Sunday, the 4th of November, between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Representatives of the authority will be on hand to direct traffic, and traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity. All motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its valuable customers as it upgrades its water infrastructure to better serve you and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square, enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com.
In local sports, every year since its inception in 2014, the DMS Corporate Cup has attracted a Cayman government team. CIG has always participated to lend its support to the effort to raise funds for worthy community causes. This year is no exception. Radio Cayman's Paula Cal has the details.
A 22-member government squad ran, climbed, kicked, and pulled their way to a 16th place finish out of 22 teams. They won all the head-to-head events: joust, ropes course, sack race, penalty kick, and tug of war. However, despite a hard fight, they were outplayed in the other contests: target shooting, basketball shootout, swimming relay, and balance the blocks. All this to help raise more than $6,000 for this year's chosen charity, Feed Our Future. Just as a big win for the participants, though, was again raising the positive profile of the Cayman Civil Service among their private sector colleagues for community engagement, team cohesion, and determination. Kathleen Brown-Gremley participated for the second year. She says she came back this year to make a positive contribution for the CIG. First-time team member Marco Miranda said he was excited to accept the invitation to join the team as a swimmer. Multi-year teamster Bobeth O'Gara appreciated the camaraderie as well as the chance to stamp CIG's mark. Troy Worms, who injured his hip earlier in the week, was fortunate to still shoot and cheer on his teammates. Already turning up to 2019, Billy Paquin, a first-time corporate cup competitor for the CIG, is looking forward to participating again next year and hopefully having more new teammates added to the roster to take home the cup. For Radio Cayman Sport, I'm Paula Cal.
Initiating system.
For information that matter, for the record, with Orrett Connor, continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Honorable D. Ezzard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. Our conversation was focused mainly on the issue of the legalization of gambling in the Cayman Islands, but Mr. Miller has pointed out to us that many things he wants to talk about. I'm going to ask him about his first meeting with the new governor of the Cayman Islands. I believe that the official opposition met with the governor recently, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, we did, and it was a very pleasant meeting. I thought the governor listen intently because, having the 4 members of the what is sometimes described as the loud opposition or the vociferous opposition or the talking opposition, he had a lot to listen to. But it was a very comfortable meeting, and it was. I think it went well. He has agreed to continue what Anwar Chowdhury had started with us in the opposition. He will meet with me 1 hour per each month. It doesn't have to be about anything specific, just about a general discussion about Cayman. And he will meet with the entire opposition once a quarter. So for that, we're grateful, and we think that gets us off on a good foot and a good start. Of course, I've also requested the Premier from the swearing-in day for the same thing, 1 hour a month. He hasn't called me yet for the first meeting. I requested the same thing from the Deputy Governor, because I think it's important for me to engage the leaders. Because it is difficult to deal. Here we have, I'll give you a good example. There's somewhere between 16 and 20 pieces of legislation that is coming before Parliament on the 14th, right? There's been no engagement with the opposition on any of that stuff, right? And I think, sometimes it is just good governance to engage each other in discussion about the good ship Cayman and how we can both contribute to taking it safely forward. But for some strange reason, there is a reluctance to have these kind of open discussions and to involve the opposition in coming up with a solution.
Is that in general or in specific instances? Because I would ask you in relation to the proposed constitutional changes that you're going to seek. There seems to be, quite a collaborative effort on your part and the Premier's part in that endeavor.
But all of it is initiated by me, right?
Okay.
Every time we talk about it, it's me that calls him and asks him what's happening. There's no regular updates. I hear about letters that he has written afterwards, and he may give me copies of them or he may not. But because we believe that is in the best interest of Cayman, from the time he made the announcement when he came back from the UK, we offered to support him in it, with certain caveats. That is going to be through a motion that he will bring to the Legislative Assembly so that there's public discussion about what we want to do and why we want to do it, prior to agreeing anything with the UK. But again, most of it happens because I call and ask what's happening. Whereas if we had this 1 hour a month, we can do lunch, we can do whatever we want. He set the time at that, and these are the kind of things that we could talk about. And I believe that it is that the opposition has a role to play other than trying to stop government. And the port is a good example. We asked repeatedly for presentations. The airport, right? We asked, can we get a tour? Can you tell us what you're doing? Can you show us the plans? No. They just won't do it. They don't tell you no, Oh yeah, I can arrange it. But here we are a year later and nothing has happened, And it has to be better for the opposition and the government to be engaged in some of these issues and working out on the solution, right? So that we can put to the people a united position on it. I mean, I have told the Premier, but I told him here on your show, remember, that, listen, I'm a trained negotiator. I am not going to the UK to argue against the Premier in front of the British. When I read the minutes of the negotiation of the 2009 Constitution, I'm appalled. I'm absolutely appalled. That's just not the way it's done. You're playing into the hands of the people you're trying to get stuff from, because they automatically see the division and they play on it. And they will give you one thing, and they will give the other side one thing, and they're always going to be played. I have told him that I expect that he and I, right, some people from my side, some people from his side, will sit down even before the motion goes to the LA, decide what we're doing, why we're doing it, and there's some kind of agreement and consensus on it. And when we go to the UK, this is my position.
United Front.
He is the premier. Mm-hmm. It is his responsibility. It is him who has the authority given to by the two political parties fusing their plans in order, not by the people, to get him as premier. But I respect that he is the premier and he has it legitimately. I'm not in any way questioning how he got it. It is your responsibility. You have the authority from the people to make this presentation to the United Kingdom government. My role is to be here to support you in that. If something comes up that you and I have not agreed on, I expect you to say to the British delegation, I'm sorry, we need to take a call for break. I need to discuss this with the leader of the opposition. Mm-hmm. And you and I go out in a room and we come back with a united position. Because otherwise it is futile.
Yep. You know? We have two callers. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, morning. Was he?
Good morning.
Yes, morning. Yeah, Mario Eubanks here. How are you doing today?
Fine, and yourself, Mr. Mario?
Yes, and morning, Mr. Honorable Ezzard Miller, Minister for Opposition Leader.
Morning, sir.
Just want to make a quick announcement, and I know that Mr. Miller would give way for that because he's also helping out a lot of time, looking for people to, helping people to find employment and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But at the Airports Authority, we have a program called the Airport Customer Service Ambassador.
Right.
And we're advertising for that. We've been advertising over the last month. Mm-hmm. And the deadline is today for applications. We've been also advertising on social media and whatnot, and Mr. Miller also is aware of it.
Yeah. We've been looking around.
Right. The applications have not been as fruitful as we imagined. These are independent contractors that we're hiring hopefully about 20 to work, especially during the peak periods and into the upcoming high season, especially with the new airport facility. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to use your medium kindly to just remind job seekers and those who are working jobs that maybe want a part-time job that they can commit to this thing, to look at the advertising. I think it should be in the papers today, but also on the CIAA website, which is www.caymanairports.com, and get the application in. Just simply a form with a resume if they can, and then it'll be other background checks afterwards. But if we want to give the opportunity to people, and like I said, the response has not been as good as we thought so far. So just want to do a final push.
Well, Mr. Mario, Mr. Eubanks, while you have the mic there, I think this is an excellent opportunity for you maybe to explain what an independent operator or independent contractor, what the expectations are, what they will be doing, the type of individual that you're looking for, the hours that a person would have to spend. I know it is all out there in terms of your advert, but here's a good opportunity for you to reach other persons who may not have seen those ads.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I don't have the paper in front of me because I'm driving from Mr. Miller's district, the beautiful district of Northside.
You need to spend more time there, You need to qualify for residence now so you can transfer your vote.
But like I said, Mr. O.C., the information is all in an advertisement. But basically, these people are going to be helping out, answering questions, looking out for anything that is not clean or things that need to be attended to at the airport during operating hours. Like I say, providing guidance, helping handicapped people, answering questions, helping with crowd control, keeping cleanliness and order. And helping out because CIA also has its own customer service team, but it's very small, and we're trying to enhance that. We've been using our own people doing overtime work, mm-hmm. But of course that causes fatigue as well, and you can't have that, especially with people mm-hmm. who are working as security officers and whatnot. So we have to be careful with abiding by the labor law.
And it's a good program. I have seen them helping a lot of people and making
We try to enhance that by getting other people who maybe looking for a part-time job or a full-time job. But the rate is $11 per hour,
mm-hmm.
and
that's good pay.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then of course hopefully people will have their own insurance, and they will be a requirement that they also have to show compliance with the pension law.
And a business license too, I would think, no?
Well, if they are independent contractor, they should have a business license as well.
Yeah.
So but here's an opportunity for people to get a full-time, part-time job, and at the airport, being an ambassador for the country. Mm-hmm. And I just want to do a final push for it. If we have to extend the deadline, if we have to look at the package, we will. But we certainly want to be cost efficient, and also we want to get good people in the front lines, because the airport and the ports and our points of entry are shop windows,
Mm-hmm.
and you only get one chance to make a good first impression.
And that's why I haven't made any recommendations, because me and my office manager are looking to make sure that anybody we recommend fits that criteria.
But Mr. Mario, in listening to you, and I haven't really read the ad, but I get the impression that maybe the low interest in it has to do with the independent contractor having to obtain a trade and business license and everything else, as opposed to being an employee or semi-employee, if there is such a thing, of the airport's authority. Could that be the drawback?
Problem is health and pension.
Yeah.
Expenses.
Yes.
It could be, Mr. O.C. It could well be the resistance to it. However, somebody can get a trade business license by saying Mario Ebanks trading as the sole proprietor, which is not very onerous, especially now with the TNB licenses being so cost effective. Mm-hmm. And then having a pension and health insurance is really in everybody's interest to have. Now, and
if a person was insured through Cynical, would that be acceptable?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Probably going to be pension, because there's not a lot of pension companies here that does single providers. They probably have to join something like the Chamber of Commerce plan or something.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Exactly. Right. Now, the reason why they can't be employees is that you have the question of fatigue, and you also have the question of liability.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we want them to be independent contractors under the guidance and supervision of the CIAA, internal customer service team. So. Again, I just thank you for your time, gentlemen. Unless you have another question for me, I'll give time back to Honourable Opposition Leader.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much.
And the other matter that you put in your WhatsApp,
yes, sir.
I'll try to raise it at the appropriate time.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mario. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you, Doc?
Good morning, Mr. Ezzard Miller, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Good morning, Mr. Maxfield.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I just want to put some pointed question to you. Not put it, but to ask you. When you and your colleagues had a meeting with Mr. Roper, the Governor, did you raise the questions of Section 117 and Section 119?
We certainly did. And we raised my concerns about the procurement law, and in particular the absence of the commencement of the standards in public health law.
Public life.
Yeah.
Public life law. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the other thing, I noticed on the radio a few mornings ago, you were stating how you were not committed to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to say a few words of welcome to the Governor, because you represent one part of the House and the Premier represent the other part of the House.
Absolutely.
Both of you represent the people.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Miller, that is one thing, and this is not a criticism. It needs to be constructively. I would have gotten up and I would have started to say what I had to say, and I would have forced the issue where they would have to tell me to sit down. I would not have just sat down and not go away, because they had gotten away with things like this for too long.
Well, I complained to the relevant authorities when it was handled that way with Anwar Chowdhury. And I was expecting, in fact, I actually took the time to prepare a speech, because I believe that in those kind of opportunities, a speech you delivered should raise the expectations of the community. It should be something that young people can look up to and can refer to say, and that the Governor can reflect on as to the aspirations of the people that you represent. You know, I was disappointed, as everybody knows, in other people's contributions. But that is part of what I am trying to achieve, Dr. McFeel, in raising the profile of the opposition. O.C. and I were talking earlier about my desire to and request of the Premier for he and I, as the two respective leaders in the Legislative Assembly, to sit down once a month and just talk about Cayman, you know, which he has agreed to it, but it has never happened. I've done the same thing with the Deputy Governor. It hasn't happened. They all think that's a great idea, but then they don't provide the opportunity. We are facing in the opposition between 17, 18 pieces of legislation, none of which we have had any discussion with the government with. So we're relying on the aims and objectives as detailed in the bill that we get to try and figure out what the government is trying to achieve. And the unfortunate thing now with these people is that when they move bills, that's what they do. They read the objectives. There's not the normal preamble that used to take place. This is the problem we identified. This is why this is the solution we're proposing. This law represents this kind of activities, right? And the other thing that is absent from the Legislative Assembly, which used to be there when I was there before, is that the other ministers does not seem to pay any attention to any other minister's legislation, because none of them get up and speak for it or promote it. When we were there when I was there before with people like Dr. Linford Pearson and Mr. Benson and Mr. Norman, we got up and advocated equally for each other's position because we understood what the people were doing. We were part of the decision-making process. There seems to be a clear agreement, understanding here that you don't bother mine, and I can bother yours.
Doc, you still there?
Yes, sir. And one last thing. The whole situation at the swearing of the governor was atrocious. Bear in mind the terrible language that the speaker used to welcome him. And then when you look at the composition of the Legislative Assembly, the government doesn't have any more elective power than the opposition. And because I think they went into the Legislative Assembly with the same number of seats. It was only when
coalition,
coalition, but they're not CPM members.
No,
they're still another part.
But there seems to be this deliberate reluctance of not wanting to share information and not wanting to invite participation. And the public keep telling us we need to work together. Well, I'm trying very hard to work with them, right? And one of the things that we decided as a group in this opposition is that we are not going to oppose for political opportunity.
Yes, that's
we are
good.
going to oppose constructively, right?
That's good.
And because just as I said to Governor Roper, as I said to Anwar Chardrin, we want the government to succeed because it is our country. But we need to be given the opportunity to participate. And the problem we have had here particularly since 1996-2000, is this deliberate and constant erosion of the authority and the relevance of the Legislative Assembly by the executive arm of government.
Yes.
Right? It has become an inconvenience for the executive. Here we are, like I say, we're doing 17, 18 pieces of legislation, and they're probably going to do their utmost to cram those into 2 days of debate.
How can it be 2 days of debate? How can there be 2 days of debate?
Because
that's absurd.
But that's what, and some of these laws are 80 and 90 clauses long, right? But that's what they do, Dr. McFeel, and then you will notice that they'll pass a piece of legislation in this sitting. When we have another sitting 3 months later, right, they're bringing back amendments to that same piece of legislation.
Yes.
Before that was unheard of. You tried to be as thorough and as correct as you could when you presented legislation to Parliament. And it were years later before you had to make amendments.
Yes.
They brush things through. When we get to committee stage, right, they'll call 9 or 10 clauses in a row, right? And if someone on the opposition does not interrupt and says, well, I need to ask a question about this, right? And then it becomes an aggravation to both the Speaker and the Premier, right? And you're basically dismissed.
Yeah. Doc, any final comments, Doc?
That's okay. I'm just happy that you have raised the questions about the standard of public life law and the district and the advisory district council's law, because those things are very important to support a democratic system if we have one.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much, for that. Mr. Miller?
You have another, okay. No, I mean...
Any more callers? No more callers at this point? Right. Okay.
No, see, this is... I mean, I got to be... I'm trying to manage the shall we say, resurrection or the recognition of the position of the leader of the opposition in a way that I try to improve its importance to the people, the role that it plays, without people saying, well, Ezzard just trying to promote himself. You know, this is not about me. I certainly intend, when I move on from leader of opposition, to leave behind things that will make it easier for the incoming leader of opposition. Our whole order of precedence needs to be reviewed. If you look at the countries around us, the leader of opposition is usually number 4, number 5. Here, I think we're number 11. Right? I mean, we got committees that I don't know that exist, that is in a document that is approved by Cabinet in 2004, 2005, right? That lays out the office of precedent, right? And those are the kind of things that need to be adjusted. But like I said, I'm trying to manage it carefully so people don't just take the opportunity and say, well, Ezzard is just trying to promote himself. Because, you know, people will take that opportunity. And I don't want to negate the opportunity to raise the level of the position of leader of opposition to the level that it should be. In a Westminster system of government, in many respects, the leader of the opposition is just as important as the Prime Minister or the Premier. You know? Yep. And they both have key roles to play. Understand, the Premier is the government. The reason they're the government is because they have the majority in Parliament, irrespective of how that majority was achieved. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They are going to pass the laws. They have the votes to pass the laws. But the opposition should have the right and be given equal opportunity to participate in that process and to raise its concerns. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you... More
so when you know at the end of the day that no matter what they say, no matter what they do, we have the numbers.
What is the constant thing? The opposition must have its say, but the government will have its way. Yeah. And I must tell you that the modus operandi of the current speaker, right, in the constant harassment of the opposition and the belittling and the curtailing of questions and debates and all that is not good for our democracy. Not good.
We have one more caller. I think we can accommodate that caller before we go to our commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. I just heard Mr. Miller allude to the fact that there was so many pieces of legislation coming before Parliament and expected to be passed in 2 days. One thing that really gets to me, and it really is annoying, is when we re-elect leaders to go to the House and probably debate motions that will ultimately affect all of us. And when UDP was in power, Alden was there crying them down because there was not enough time for Parliament. Now he's in power and he's doing worse than them. When does this madness stop? I mean, it is like what they're doing is they're bringing legislation that they know would get certain amount of opposition, and therefore they're making the time less for members to debate the motion that is going to be put on the floor of the House. It is time that we, the Cayman people, recognize that PPM, UDP is the same madness. I think it's time for us now to focus on someone who is going to do a sterling job, follow protocols, and I believe, Mr. Miller, you exemplifies that individual. I mean, I see the whole country should see where the direction you're taking the opposition in, with the protocols you're putting in place, with the amount of attention to detail that you're putting in place. And I commend you for your sterling brilliant job that you're doing as leader of the opposition, and I hope that other people, follows your footstep and try to do stuff, principle, be principled about the things that you do. Anyway, gentlemen, thanks a lot.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to take a commercial break now. When we return, we have one more caller. Caller, just hang in there. Quick commercial break. We will be back with you shortly.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square. Enjoy a Broadway show or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Are you kidding me?
What's wrong?
I ran out of my meds and I have an interview in about an hour.
Why not call CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy? They'll be able to help.
You think so?
Absolutely. Their pharmacists are brilliant for fast, efficient and professional service.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. We strive to make your health our concern. We recognize the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care. That is why we offer personalized one-on-one counseling. Call us today or visit our website at CaymanPharmacy.com.
You remember the sale at Vant Motors?
Yeah, the Your Sale, Your Choice. The one where you can get cash back or can put the savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on. But now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during Your Sale, Your Choice at Vant Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice, because you know what you need, and Vant Motors will help you drive it home. Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Initiating system.
For information that matter, for the record, with Orrett Connor, continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Ezzard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. As promised, we're going to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the Leader of Opposition, Mr. Ezzard Miller.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Gilbert McLean. Mr. Miller, I was listening to you speak about the role of the opposition, and you're right in what you say. There is no question about the recognition under the Westminster system of the leader of the opposition. In fact, the leader of the opposition is referred to as Her Majesty's
loyal opposition.
Loyal opposition.
Exactly.
And what I think we miss here very badly in Cayman is that the members of the opposition, the minority, there is always that possibility that they could become a majority simply by the crossing of the floor of some members on a particular issue.
Mm-hmm.
And here in Cayman, we have this uninformed or ignorant way of believing that the opposition, they're nobody or whatever the case may be. And we've grown so far away from respect and civility and the effort to actually learn and know what is the correct thing, that we're suffering the results of it right now. But, Mr. Miller, you have a right to demand that kind of recognition. Mm-hmm. And I would expect and hope that the governor, the new governor that has done so many postings around the world, he would also know that, and at least he would extend to you that right that you unquestionably have, and let the government know that at least that protocol and that civility have to be extended, and hopefully our people will learn that you play a very significant role. I mean, there are certain things that, and appointments of boards and authorities and the like, that the law says you have a right to nominate so many, while the government has the right to do so, and the governor has a right to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is so unfortunate. It's so uncivil and uncivil. No, I'll use the word uncivilized. I'm known for that type of thing. But anyway, thank you very much. I just wanted to say that in support of what you said. And if the government takes the time to read Erskine May at any time, they would surely see a lot of information there that fortifies what you can say.
Read Erskine May. They have the invader, our standing orders, waiting about Erskine May. But the truth is that without a vibrant opposition, you can't have a good government, and it's no longer a Westminster-style government. It's a dictatorship.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you very much, caller, for that as well. Mr. Miller, I know you want to respond to in particular, the first caller before Mr. McLean. Just before we do that, though, this WhatsApp message says, "Good morning to your guests." Let me make sure that this is it. Okay. No, go right ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that we have to be that I am concerned of as leader of opposition is, again, the abuse of Parliament and the abuse of the majority and the abuse of because before it was just like you heard me talk a bit about the modus operandi, but it is now abuse because it is so widespread. We will go there Wednesday on the 14th, right? And we will be expected to probably work minimum 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now, there is a reason why our founding fathers set the hours of the Legislative Assembly to meet. That we begin at 10 in the morning, we take lunch, which would normally an hour, right? And we adjourn at 4:30. And here is the rationale how it was explained to me when I joined the government in the 80s. Going to the legislature at 10 o'clock gave you as cabinet, what's now a cabinet minister, the opportunity to come into your office, set your office work for the day, have meetings if you wanted with your staff. We go down to the Legislative Assembly. We worked the hours that we were supposed to work. You get an opportunity when the LA designs at 4:30 to come back to your office, right, to get a report on the day's activity, right, and to start to begin to set the agenda for the next day. But you get there before your staff leave at 5, right? What happens now is that we're supposed to start at 10. We very, very rarely get started after 11. So we have to go into this ridiculous thing of suspending standing orders to allow questions after 11 o'clock. Not because questions have gone on for an hour, It's because the Legislative Assembly hasn't started, right? Then we go till 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we take lunch break, which should be an hour, and that turns out to be 2 hours. Because here's what happens. The staff, because the staff knows that the minister's not coming back to the office at 4:30, right? And they can meet with him. They all come down to the LA. And standing orders actually prohibit the meetings in the Legislative Assembly without the Speaker's permission, right? Right? But if I need a room to caucus with the opposition, none is available. Ministries are in every one of the meeting rooms down there, right? And they move in, and they move in the morning when they come down for question time, and they take over the room for the whole day, right? We often have to go to the Sergeant at Arms and say, listen, I need a small conference room because we need to meet on this matter that's been raised by the government. To have because I try to lead my group by consensus so that they know what Ezzard is going to say before Ezzard gets up and says it. And then, by the time you get to 7, 8 o'clock at night, not because we've been working hard during the day, but because we've been wasting so much time and eating so much food, right, and drinking so much coffee, that we're all brain dead. When you see us down until 10, 11 o'clock in the night, let's be honest now, right? We just going through the motions, right?
And you can discern that even just listening on the radio.
And if you look on TV, you can see that a lot of people are sleeping. Yeah. Now they'll have their laptop in their hand, you know, right? Making believe that they but the fingers ain't moving, right? So it just, to me, it is just disappointing, frustrating that oftentimes I'm ashamed to be a member of the Legislative Assembly by the way business is being conducted. It is so happen chance, it is so unprofessional, you know, and then we get into the shouting across the hall, and people can't deal with the issues that you're dealing with, so we get into personal attacks and personalities, right? It's just not good for the country, right? And we should be able, you know, one of the things that Mr. McLean and the group of independents, basically on his proposal, had agreed that if we formed the government, one of the things that we were going to do was we were going to restore the importance and the relevance of Parliament. And I think what he was proposing was that we would be meeting every other Thursday with a rolling agenda, right? And we would have 1 hour for question times, and it would be verbal questions on your foot. You wouldn't have to give us 10 days notice and then we tell you 15 days later and we don't have the answer prepared yet, right? You know, because and I will expect when I become Premier, my ministers must know what's going on in the thing, and those are the changes that we intend to bring about when we form the government, you know, and we will go back to that 10 to 4:30, right? You know, or if the public, if there is interest in the public, maybe we could change it to 2 till 10, right? So that the people can have time to get home and listen to it, and they don't have to, you know, or come down to the alley and participate. Because it is, or at least when it's live on TV, you'll be home in the evening time, you could watch it, you know. But we need to be things that progress, right, our country, not things that cause it to regress. Yes. And erosion of parliamentary authority and relevance and importance is a regressive step from the progressive government.
One of our listeners, and I must say that they have been consistent in sending this message to me. I haven't addressed it, and I don't know if you have any information on it, Mr. Miller, but they're lamenting the fact that at the Health Services Authority, because of some issues with the security that they had in place there, the in-house security, they have gone ahead and hired an outside security firm. Some persons in the in-house security were suspended. I believe that is still, I don't know whether or not there's a police investigation continuing or what. But they're lamenting the fact that these officers have now been replaced by a private security company. Just curious to know.
I can tell you that
know anything about that situation.
I can tell you that we know a lot about it, and a lot about it is going to be questioned in the Public Accounts Committee when they bring the 2016-17 accounts, because I can promise you that it is very unlikely that they are hiring a private security firm for the same cost that they were employing people, even when you add in insurance and pension, right? And again, why do we have to go out to a private security firm if you suspend a few of your staff? You hire other people, you know? But it is. We're going to get to the bottom in Public Accounts Committee, in the public, and that person can pay attention, because it'll be coming up soon.
Okay, I think we have 2 minutes before the news.
Now,
you go ahead, because yours may be shorter than mine. When we return from the news, I want to talk more about that Airports Authority situation and the implications and the impacts of that.
But actually, I was going to talk about it. But again, let's get back to what is why I say there's only going to be 2 days of LA. We're meeting on Wednesday the 14th, 15th, and the 16th. Right? Wednesday will be government business. I can promise you that there's going to be anywhere from 8 to 10 reports, because all their 2016-17 reports should be tabled now, right, by the ministry. So that's going to take up a huge chunk of time. Question time is going to take up half hour to 45 minutes. So that's the morning session gone. So we come back after lunch, right? Then we're going to deal with these bills. Then we're going to work late into the night. Thursday is private members' motion. We still have private members' motion that were tabled in March that not dealt with yet, because time doesn't allow them to be dealt with, because they want to give us one day. Friday is usually planned to be the last day, right? And we seem to be always meeting close to some departure deadline by the Premier and other ministers of government. Whether that just happens to fall in place or it's planned, so that we're confined to 3 days. So we are going to be expected to pass some in the region of 18 pieces of legislation, right, in probably, right, less than 18 hours working time. So we're going to, with 1 hour, let's just take an average, right? We are going to do first reading, second reading debate, committee on the bills, third reading to pass it into law. And some of these bills are very important and far-reaching bills.
So do we run the risk that you may just be going through the motions?
Well, that's what's going to happen. I mean, the situation is that there is so much work, right, that what I have done is I have assigned the bills to certain members for them to read it and come to us with what they recommend our position should be. Because, they've been gazetted and we've been settled on business paper, the white copy, which is not the legal copy. We hope to get the green copy today, which is the copy that has to be discussed in the LA. And sometimes there's lots of changes between the white and the green,
Okay. Right. We reached the top of the hour. Headline news at 9 o'clock. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with the Honorable D. Ezzard will continue immediately after headline news.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
This note's keynote speaker at the Festival of Seas Awards and Gala is Alexandra Cousteau. Several ocean awards will also be given out tomorrow night as part of the organization's 20th anniversary celebrations. For more information about the event or to purchase tickets, head to reefresearch.org/gala 2018. A top Turkish official, presidential advisor Yasin Akte, has said he believes Jamal Khashoggi's body was dissolved in acid after being cut up. The, quote, only logical conclusion, he said, was that those who had killed the Saudi journalist in Istanbul had destroyed his body to leave no trace behind. Khashoggi, a critic of Saudi rulers, was killed inside the country's consulate on October 2nd. Japan's cabinet has approved draft legislation to loosen the country's immigration rules. The relaxed laws would create 2 new visa categories to allow foreigners in sectors with labor shortages to enter the country. Japan has restrictive immigration laws and accepts few workers from other countries. But new rules could allow blue-collar workers in construction, farming, and healthcare sectors to work there. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
You remember the sale at Vamp Motors?
Yeah, the Your Sale, Your Choice. The one where you can get cash back or can put the savings to extend the warranty or upgrade features?
Yes, it's still going on. But now you can get $8,000 off a new Ford Ranger truck. $8,000, you know?
You for real?
Come see for yourself. While they still have so much to choose from, save big during Your Sale, Your Choice at Vamp Motors. With almost every vehicle on sale, you decide whether to get your dream ride at its lowest price. Take cash back, add years to the warranty, or or service plan. Choose an add-on or mix your options. Your sale, your choice, because you know what you need, and Vant Motors will help you drive it home. Vant Motors on Walker's Road.
A pharmacy is where you go for medicine and for the pharmacist's advice on how to take them. Here at CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, our pharmacists are trusted health professionals whose job is to help people receive the best results out of their medicine. They know exactly what's in your prescriptions and will be happy to answer any of your questions. You can be sure that our pharmacist will see that your medicine is at the right strength, in the right dose, and will check that you yourself know how to take them or use them properly. Come in today for a consultation with our pharmacist at CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Cayman Kind is the Cayman experience.
We work at the Cayman Craft Market.
It is a myth that we do not need the cruise ship industry.
It is a fact that when there are no ships in port, we do not earn a living. We depend on the cruise industry, and if it was to reduce by half, many others just like us would suffer immensely. We want to work and provide for our families.
We need the pier.
Support the piers. Support our tourism.
Initiating system.
For information that matters, For the Record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Honorable D. Ezzard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. I want to remind you our phone lines are open. Toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us at 925-3261. You can leave a text message or send us a voice note. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Getting back to the scenario that was laid out to us by Mr. Mario Ebanks, and of course he was limited because he said he didn't have the details of the ad in front of him. But as I said earlier, it appears to me that the lack of interest in persons applying for those positions probably have a lot to do, like you pointed out also, Mr. Miller, with pensions, with insurance as well. Here's an opportunity at $11 an hour for Caymanians who are unemployed or who may be employed in positions that are that are paying much less than that to get employment. Possible opportunity for those who are being assisted by the needs assessment unit, if it is not for physical incapacity, to get off the dependence on the NAU and have gainful employment as well. My fear is that because of a lack of interest, due mainly to those circumstances that I pointed out earlier, things may change, and they may then put provisions in there that allow for companies to participate. Of course, those companies, when they provide the service, they're going to go out there, they're going to hire non-Caymanians, and you're going to see more work permits for situations where we need to put our heads together. They need to put their heads together and get this in a situation whereby it accommodates those persons who genuinely want employment, can genuinely perform, but because of the requirements do not want to or cannot.
And just the sheer fear of being referred to as a individual contractor and being told that you got to get a business license. Because you remember before you could get a job in anybody, and you had what we would call single proprietorship. You're working for yourself. Yeah. You didn't need a business license. You hiring me, but now you can't get a job to paint a door in government unless you got a business license. So there are many positions at the airport that I believe, in the interests of national security, that should be employees of government and not employees of a company that is not controlled by and not controlled by government. Nothing aggravates me more than going through security and I have to be questioned and things by a non-Caymanian. That just upsets me, right? But these are positions that I believe they should be positions that are full-time or part-time employment for the Cayman Islands Airports Authority, and they should be in control of those things. And I understand the economic rationale for this, in that if you are not going to have to pay health insurance and you're not going to have to pay pension, it's a huge savings on your balance sheet. And they're going to need all the savings they get to service that overrun on the construction of the airport, which moved us from 1 male urinal to 1 male urinal. But I would hope that the fact that the response is so low, the board would reconsider its position. And because I don't think they have any problem when they advertise for employees in the security arm up there who are employees of the Civil Aviation Authority, right? And you see a lot of Caymanians in that section, right? But it is, and this is what my concern here is that, and I don't think that government should always be the employer of last opportunity or last reference. But we got to be careful, because this is what the private sector does. The whole construction industry in this country has been ruined by subcontractors, which is what this is, and individual contractors. And many of the other organizations, other companies in the private sector are going to this kind of independent contractors, right? Again, for economic reasons of health insurance and pensions, and other liabilities as well. And I think government needs to set the example, just as we have done with the 5% COS, and I'm also pleased to be hearing that the cabinet is extending that to many, if not all. I think it should be all of the public authorities and government-owned companies, and the government should be, and I'm calling on the private sector to match the 5% COS that was given by government, because their employees shop at the same supermarket that government supermarket, and one cannot deny the inflation that's going on and the increase in cost of living. And I would really strongly recommend that the management of the airport authority reconsider the idea of putting these positions out as individual contractors and look to make them employees and make such a recommendation to the board for reconsideration. But I think that I agree with you. I believe the response will be overwhelming in that kind of situation. But the mere fact, and it's not easy to get a business license. I'm not making about it. And understand that it used to be under the old business regime before the progressive government changed it, that any Caymanian was entitled to a business. Now, it is a privilege to be granted by a board that is appointed by the elected government, So they can turn people down.
I'm just, afraid that this is one of those situations, again, that Caymanians will end up being shafted with. We have two callers. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi, it's Johan Moxon. Good morning to the Leader of the Opposition. Good morning, Mr. Osei.
Good morning, sir.
Two quick questions, jumping straight in. Hopefully you'll both be able to opine, but the question is primarily for the Leader of the Opposition. Sir, you've been a legislator for a long time, vast experience, but I was wondering if you can help me and the public understand. I believe in the democratic right to agree to disagree and to, fight your cause and argue your points. But has there ever been a time when the elected government sworn to protect the Constitution of the Cayman Islands and thus its citizens who have these rights enshrined in the Constitution under Section 70 of the 2009 Constitution? Have you ever seen a Cayman Islands government before campaign against citizens exercising the constitutional rights? I've in my
short answer is no, and the one man the government didn't campaign against the right to have the referendum. They hijacked the referendum and campaigned against the to get the result that they wanted.
Well, the point that I was going to also make was during the one man, one vote campaign, you and I were directly involved. The leadership of the government, or at the time, the same leadership of the Progressive, the PPM, who were in fact your predecessors as leaders of the opposition, were castigating and up in arms that the government of the day would spend large sums of money campaigning against the rights of the people to pursue our constitutional and electoral reform.
Caller, when you say campaign against the rights of the people, can you elaborate on that, please?
As the government, I would.
You're breaking up badly.
You're breaking up badly, sir.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I was just about to say, Mr. O.C. is the unofficial spokesman for the government.
Hey, careful there.
Only while they're writing, not on the show.
Allow me that. First of all, allow me to call in and ask these questions because normally, things get kind of tested between us. So thank you for being in a good mood today.
I'm always in a good mood.
No, but I just wanted to find out, and Mr. O.C. as a former cabinet secretary, are there rules around governance of the government campaigning or utilizing public funds to mount a public relations and marketing campaign against citizens who are attempting to exercise their constitutional rights, which are enshrined in Section 70 of the Constitution? Where is that governed? Is there a limit to the budget that the government can spend? And when the numbers are collected to force the people's initiated referendum, does the money being spent by the government now count towards the overall campaign like it would in an election? I don't know. I don't understand the protocols, and a lot of the public don't. So perhaps
we'll try to answer that for you.
Answer that for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good question. Let's take the other caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, O.C. Good morning, Mr. Ezzard Miller.
Morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
I hear talking about, some of these people that would rather sit on dole than to get an opportunity to work for themselves and make.
No, none of us said anything. I don't think there was any implication there that there are people who would rather sit on the dole than take a job. You're saying that, caller.
Yeah, I'm saying that. What I want to say and make it simple and short here is this. I remember when I lived in the United States, I think it was in Michigan, that the government of that state, when they found that there were so many people sitting and doing nothing and collecting the thing, they made a law that said, yes, we will assist you, but if we give you an opportunity to find a job doing whatever you do, and you refuse it, we cut that dole off. And I think they called it the
welfare to work fair.
Fair program. Yeah, that's what we need in Cayman, because I see people here in West Bay driving around, looking healthy, and doing nothing to help themselves, and yet they collect not just the dole, but some of them are getting, oh my goodness, they getting rent and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's not right. So we have to make laws that make these people know you're not going to sit down and collect this thing without, unless you're indigent or something like that. We have to make those kinds of laws, and I think that's one way that you'll see a lot of this wasted money. I call it wasted money. The government does these things. That's my 2 cents for the morning, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. Let's address. We need a commercial break, right? We can go straight to. We can go straight until 9:30.
Okay.
Mr. Johan Markstrom's questions and observations. Very very poignant.
Let's first of all, I am not aware of that there's any specific funds in the budget for 2018 or 2019 specifically to oppose people-initiated referendum, right? or to support referendum, the funds that would be necessary to actually hold it would have to be a supplementary vote, right? I would proffer, subject to your agreement or your correction, that the controls that exist on campaign financing for an election as a member of the Legislative Assembly do not apply because they are detailed under the election law.
Right, and they speak specifically to an election.
Right, so therefore, there is no limit to what the government can assign. And remember that the government, under a section of the PMFL law, has the authority in totality for the year to move, it's 5%, I believe, right? To increase the budget by 5% and to move money around ad infinitum within the government from head to head without going over that 5%. So the government has the ability to move funds into campaigning for the port. And quite frankly, there is nothing wrong with any ministry who has a certain PR function and a PR vote to use that funds to promote the project that they have. However, it is normal that promotion is factual and is intended to inform the thing about the benefits of the port. What is being said in the ads, right? That if we don't get a mega ship, the cruise passengers are going to be cut in half. There is absolutely no evidence. That is very Trumpinian and very global oriented. There's no evidence to support the inflated individual spend. The records that the government produces 95. There is no evidence to inflate the total spend of the cruise industry from $154 million to $200 million. So when my argument view is that when the government knows and therefore deliberately misinform the public, that's a misappropriation of funds. And there going to be some explaining to be done down the road.
Okay, we have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. Oversee. Good morning to the honorable leader of the opposition, Mr. Miller.
Good morning,
morning,
sir.
sir.
It's good to hear him on here. You know, what Mr. Ackerman was saying a while ago, you've got to remember those countries have direct income tax. So there is a part of your salary that goes to unemployment compensation, and you can use it. Most states you can use it for 6 months, and but you have to, show the government you're looking for a job. People usually take in business cards of different places that they went to and all that, but you can go and pick up a business card. So there's always loopholes and all that. I know, like up in Canada where they have unemployment, the same thing, but there are people who are in business because I have good friends in the swimming pool business. They work for 7 months, that's it, pushing it on the mom. Then the next 5 months, you live on what you've paid into it. And the workers, the person's workers, they go out and, do part-time jobs and still collect. So, there's ways to support yourself and stuff like that. That's why I often suggest that we look at direct income tax, definitely. I know it's coming anyhow, but with regards to the referendum, I do agree with you 100%. We should try and put it on if the referendum comes about. The gambling thing, we have to make a decision on that. That is of paramount importance. That the gay marriage business, we don't need to change our marriage law. Some things are sacrosanct. People want to live together, but nothing wrong with that. Put one of them as your, what do you call it? You turn over your controls if you're incapacitated to someone. That anyhow, that law there is written in there. You can have someone look after your affairs.
Yeah, power of
attorney.
Yes, power of attorney. Just slip me for the moment. And also, we're getting misinformation directly from the people on the petition. Also, I've heard it over and over where people get on the radio station and say, we're going to flood Georgetown. You're going to destroy all the reefs. You're going to destroy Georgetown. and all that, and they're not engineers or anything. If you ask them what they are, but you dare not oppose them. Sometimes they're vitriolic and creating a lot of hatred. It's unnecessary, very unnecessary. But that's how it is with politics. I just think that we should explain to people also, if we're going to tell them that no pier, not building any pier, what happens with the EIA report. I never heard anyone say this. What happens if we let these huge ships keep dropping anchor? They're going to drag them sometime. Your father, a great captain, Mr. Miller. These giant ships, the anchor chain alone, some links probably weighs 300-400 pounds.
Yeah, but those areas, they have specific anchoring areas, and those areas we will admit are already destroyed. So you can't destroy them anymore.
And then the ships many are at engine, as you know. They're not anchored at all, so their turbulence near 30 feet down on a little more.
Yeah, but the turbulence can't stir up anything because there's nothing there to stir up.
Yeah, well, but where they are, they're all over the place. If you look at
no, they're not all over the place, sir. They have specific positions that they have to maintain. Anchorage appointed by the Port Authority, and that's all by GPS references and longitude and latitude.
I understand all that, but I still think there's something to say if we continue this way also without the pier. So it's a pro and con side. I just like to on both sides. I just like to hear the issues clearly instead of bringing it down to raw politics where people are getting vitriolic, making statements against people and all that when they call into radio stations. If they're questioning the reason for a petition, what it's all about, and so forth. But I do think we could add a few things to that referendum. And one is a gambling thing, definitely. But you have to make a decision. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Thank you very very quickly. I shouldn't say quickly, but we'll cover the time. The whole idea of government spending money to counter what people are proposing, and I like the way that you explained it, because at the end of the day you didn't really question that more as to the truthfulness of the ads, the veracity of what is being said. But it seems as if many people who are for the referendum are now changing directions, or not necessarily changing directions, but staying in one position but going in on tangents as well. And one is questioning the government's ability to air these ads, to spend money. What I have said before is that when you speak of the government and you talk about the people, there are the people on both sides. There are the people who are for the referendum and have concerns about the port. There are people who are for the port and maybe have some concerns or may not have concerns. So when we say the people are not just those who are not on the government side, but they're everyone. So you have to take into consideration both sides. But the government must have the ability at the end of the day to put their platform forward and to put their views forward.
I agree, but I just
and I think that those people who are concentrating on that is not the argument that they want to use, because that's a losing argument.
Right, I think the concern has been expressed to me is not one that the government has no right and should not spend any public funds to promote policies that they believe are in the best interest of the government. All the complaints I get is that they are deliberately inaccurate, and that has to be wrong. And when you're up against that kind of misinformation, what it does is it makes it difficult to engage in rational and sensible discussion. One of the things that I try to explain to the people who believe that more is always better. I was talking to one tour operator last week, and it took me a while to calm him down, because he's for the fort, because he believed that 600,000 more people is better for him. I said, okay, let's assume that 600,000 more people. You are operating under a company that is subsidized by government, the local cooperative. We have moved since that cooperative was set up from 1.2, 1.3 million passengers to 1.7. Your profit has not increased. Do you really believe that moving from 1.7 to 2.5 is going to increase your profit? Well, what do you mean? I says, well, here's my rationale as to why your profit hasn't increased. If you want to take on more people, get a big percentage of that 600,000 that's going to be added, you're going to have to invest capital. You have to get another boat. You got to have another crew. Your expenses at a minimum is going to double. Are you going to get twice as many people? Well, I said, that's not the answer to your... That's not the answer. The answer to your problem is that the government must put its foot down and says, listen, this is the Cayman Islands. Mr. Cruise industry, we cannot allow you to continue to take 7 to 1% of a tour that a local person is providing. What you need the government to do is to tell the cruise industry. The cruise industry has set what they believe the concessions or percentage should be. They pay the travel industry, the travel agencies and all that, who book on their ships a percentage. Let's stick to the same percentage. If you sell a tour that is a Caymanian is providing in Cayman, you should not be entitled to any more than you are paying a travel agent for booking a trip on your ship. Mm-hmm. So what that does for that person in the tour business is that going to take his income opportunity, right? He should at least be able to double, if not quadruple, his income, while his expenses are the same. That's how we help you make a profit and send your children to college and all that you're talking about, that the pair is going to do. The pair is not going to help you increase your profit margin. I would proffer that it's going to reduce it, right? Because you're going to get more competition. The cruise industry is going to then have control of the port for 25 years. Remember now, they will have potential the opportunity to tell that same tour person, you can't come on the dock and pick up anybody. You have to have a contract with us. And we are going to tell you, and they're going to be looking not for 7 to 1. They're going to be looking for 90%. Mm-hmm. Right?
While you're on that topic, one of our listeners earlier in the week sent me something in relation to adverts and for onshore shopping and the fact that there are establishments on shore that are promoted by the cruise ships themselves, and you will speak a little bit about this as well. But at the same time, they pointed out that in those adverts, and I'll read this one, it says, the best buys for your vacation are right here on board. Look for the best buy symbols in the fun shops. So here they are, in one breath, saying these are the places on shore that you can shop. But you really the best buys are on board. And what are the local merchants doing to counter what the cruise ships are doing in terms of their ads?
They're not doing nothing. They're paying them. They're paying them to recommend their store as a place that cruise passengers should go. They're paying them commissions.
But at the same time, they're telling that your best bet is the best buy is on board the ship.
Why would the cruise industry build bigger ships? There's only two reasons. You get more passengers on the same ship with very little increase in crew. So you have efficiency of operation. But more importantly, you have room to provide more services to keep the money on the ship, right? That's what it's about. You put the pair out there, right? They're not only going to tell you that your best buys are here, their shops can be open while they're at the dock. You can go shore, right? And you can look for a Rolex watch, and it's $15,000-$20,000. I don't know, because I wear, I'm a citizen Casio type guy. I don't go beyond that, right?
I use my phone now.
and you can go back on board the ship, right, and compare the prices. And the information I have is that they're cheap on the ship, or they're cheap on Cozumel, right? So the local merchants, right, who currently get the majority of that 200 million spending, 48% of that 200 million goes to the merchants in Georgetown. 2% goes to the tour operators and taxis. And the government is telling you we're doing this for taxi drivers? And what I'm going to do with taxi drivers if I stop the pair and cruise industry drops in half? That's not what attention is about. Trust me.
Okay, opportunity for you to.
Yeah. I need to
closing comments, Mr. Miller.
Mostly there's some announcements about Northside. See, one of the things that is troubling about this year's Pirates Week is if you look in the compass. Well, I got before me the Times today. There's a full page advertisement in colour about the events for Pirates Week. And it starts Thursday the 9th of November, Friday the 9th of November, Saturday the 10th of November, Sunday the 11th of November, Monday the 12th of November. There's not a word in here about district days. Mm-hmm. District days start today, Mm-hmm. Jamaica East End Heritage Days today. Nothing in here being advertised about it. Yet, Pirates Week is encouraging district committees to support Pirates Week by having Heritage Days. Northside Heritage Day is next Tuesday the 6th.
But there, in one of the other newspapers, there is another page and another ad that points to district days, times, and locations.
Oh, well, I don't know this one.
But again, in the Caymanian Compass, it is in there.
Why are we having district days before Pirates Week? And it's supposed to be for Pirates Week. That ad should say Pirates Week start today. And it's 2 weeks now, 1 week, right? But anyway, leave that as it may. The Heritage Day for Northside is Tuesday, right? And that's the best place to come. You can be down at the Cayman with all that nice, relaxing sea breeze. We've got a beautiful facility there. You can get under the huts. You've got beautiful casuarina trees. You can bring your hammock. You can bring your chair. You can get some real good old-fashioned Northside food. And then when that little thing hits you that make you want to go sleep, right? You go lay down on your lounge there in a wonderful sea breeze and take a nap, right? And then, but the float for the parade is being worked on by the Pirates Week Committee next to the Ronald Forbes playing field on a nightly basis. So I want to encourage people, one, from all over the island to come to the Northside Heritage Day. It's Tuesday, next week Tuesday, the 6th, starts at 11 and goes to 10 p.m. We need to encourage people from the community to come out and help with the preparation of the float next to the Ronald Forbes playing field. I am going to hold a public meeting on Tuesday the 13th at 8 p.m. in the Cradock Bank Civic Centre. And the purpose of that is to discuss this legislation. And also, we have a situation where we've been trying now for about 6 years to get restroom facilities on the public beach that was set up in the 80s next to what's now referred to as Starfish Point. Right at the end of the roundabout beyond the Cayman was as a sign that saying Ivor Point. We have an unfortunate situation where every landowner within the area who can object has objected. So I need to deal with that in a public forum. And I am publicly inviting, an invitation will be delivered to each of the landowners' residents to come to the meeting. Because I would prefer to sit down and talk to them and make them understand the importance of having restroom facilities there, because they ain't closing down the public beach. When they bought the land, and when they built a house, the public beach was there.
Yes.
They're not going to run my people out of town. Okay? So we need to sit down and talk, and I don't like to do these things in a back room, surrounded by cigar smoke.
Public forum.
I like to do that in the public. If they don't come, I can tell the people what the objections say. But see, if they were objecting because we were using red metal roofs and it didn't fit with the environment and they wanted green shingles because it would match the foliage, right? If the building was going to be Mexican green and trimmed by an Indian red, right? And the E was going to be ocean blue, right? And they didn't like those colors, I don't have a problem, right? but don't object to the facility being put in because too many people can use it, right? Or too many people are now using it. That's not reasonable. So I want to make sure that the public, the Northsiders, come out because these are going to be invited. I'm going to have flyers distributed in the district next week about the meeting. So we want to come out and we have to stand our ground and we have to defend the right of us having a public facility there that talks about being able to maintain your personal hygiene and also to maintain the hygiene of the area.
But shouldn't it be more than Northsiders? Because there are more people in Northsiders who come in that area and enjoy it and use it.
The truth of the fact is it is used by more people from outside than Northside. But I represent Northside and it is in my constituency and I can do my job. So make sure you come out to Tuesday night, the 13th, at 8 p.m. in the Credoc Big Civil Centre. We will deal with the huge load of legislation as well. But the reason for calling the meeting is because every single landowner within the area, and I believe some even outside the area, have objected to this facility being put in. And we're not, again, all we're putting in is male and female restrooms with a handicap capacity and one little hut with 4 posts. And so, because one of the things that I objected to Public Works wanting to do was putting in an asphalt parking lot. I don't think that is necessary. Going to create too much heat and all that. But we got to take out a few of the Casarina trees and organize the parking properly and do some landscaping with rocks and stuff to guide people, you know. But we need to make sure that, and I will most likely prepare a petition for the people from Northside and those people who want the facility to sign so that we can go. Because remember, I don't have a right to go to the planning when this is hard as your representative. I'm trying to convince the government that I need to go since I am the client of the ministry under the public management law, so I can't see how the CPA going to try to throw me out the room. But that could be rather contentious if they attempt to do that. But I believe I would stand a better position armed with the petition signed by the people.
And if anything, we can always have a referendum in Northside just for that.
We have them up there at public meetings on a regular basis. No, there are times when I have asked people to vote on a position because there are different positions in the audience. And it might be all in the audience, but it might be against the position that I put forward, and I just want to say a show of hands, and I do what they say. Yep. Right? So that's what I'm hired to do.
I want to thank you very much for being here this morning, folks. I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station. Join Talk Today at 12:15. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking and pension needs, call or visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Base and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.